joined by the coach Pat Poore alongside Mike Trude. I am Luke Martin. Today is the Saluki defense preview. Coach Poore, Lee Pronchinsky takes over as a DC. When you take over your first year, now it's his first year here as the DC. He's been a defensive coordinator before, but just take us through as a coach when you know that is now a duty that you take over. You're no longer a position coach. You oversee the whole thing.
Yeah, I think a lot of it for Pron has probably been just the prep for the season. You know, you go through the summer, you break down your first three opponents, and, you know, this initial part of camp was probably some personnel stuff, but at this point now it's truly checking your boxes, crossing your T's, dotting your I's on all your stuff. And obviously he has some experience coordinating the whole thing, and I've been impressed with just the continuity that they've had defensively. You know, you haven't seen a lot of just bust, you know, like, no, that's not right. And that's a hard thing to do, is because everybody's got to be on the same page. And defense now is, I mean, it is all about assignment.
And unless you're out here every day, Mike, you don't really get to see that communication piece that Coach Poore was describing. But it does appear that the players get to play very freely under Coach Pron, and you've seen them be able to showcase their personalities within the scheme, of course, and making sure that they're all funneling in the same direction.
Yeah, no, I agree. And when you've got some of the athleticism that these guys have on defense, namely the safeties and the corners, playing within the system yet allowing to show your athleticism and know what you can do day in and day out is a huge factor. And Coach Pron gives them that little bit of liberty with still staying within the scheme. But as Pat said, tackling is such a key. You can be in the right spot, but if you don't bring that guy down, that's another 3-4 yards they're going to get. And this team has been much better, I think, on tackling this year than it was a year ago.
It's funny, Coach Poore, because I truly believe it can be rinse and repeat with our video segments these last couple years when we talk about the linebacker room. It is another stacked room. Colin Bohannick back and healthy. He's really reshaped and in much better physical condition than he was a year ago. And maybe one of the biggest names in fall camp, Andrew Boehm, has just been outstanding at that spot after missing most of the year last year due to injury.
Well, and I think some of that could be just the fact that he did miss a lot of last year, and you know, that's a motivator to, hey, that's why you play. And you know, that kid has come out and really let everything that he's got talent-wise come to fruition.
And what was so great about that playoff year was you saw the development, and not necessarily development, but how big DJ Johnson, Mark Davis were at each corner spots. When Southern's had really good corners, man, it gives a lot of guys on defense an opportunity to even be a better unit. You look at that group, Jeremiah McClendon, I think no question leads that group. He's had an outstanding fall camp.
Yeah, Jeremiah was a guy, again, came on strong at the end of last year, got the opportunity to play. Confidence-wise, I think he came into camp this year with just a ton of confidence. It has shown. He's been locked down at his position. And the confidence factor that you were talking about earlier, talking about the safeties even, with CJ. CJ doubted himself. He told you that. Doubted himself so much last year. And at that safety position or the corner spot, if you doubt yourself, that's going to be when trouble happens. CJ went through the year knowing he was a better player than he was showing, but he was in his head way too much all year, and I think he's also turned that around. But at the corner spots, it does start with you know, J-Mac. He's something, and while he may not lead the team in interceptions, because I think quarterbacks are not going to want to throw to his side of the field.
Up front on the defensive line, this is a group where, again, physically you look at them, Jake Perella and Donnie Wingate, I think, are two guys that no question lead that room, but are two guys that have just, man, however way you want to describe it, they have played with their rear ends on fire in camp, and they've really shown that.
Well, and you have to do that up front, irregardless if you're an edge guy or you're an inside guy. And a lot of that goes back to Luke also knowing the assignment and being able to play with technique, and then having that motor, that trigger to, hey, for 6 seconds I'm going, you know, lights out, and then, hey, I do that for 3 snaps. They got good depth up front.
You know, Mike, when you continue just with that defensive line, we talked a lot about the guys on the edge. Well, interior are going to be just as important. Bernardin Florima Jr., who comes in with Coach Davis with previous experience underneath him, that's been a big plus in there. And even another guy on the edge at times, Vontrell Charzay, who played at times last year, could see him starting to just get more acclimated as well.
Yeah, it's all about the reps for Trell. He got in last year. He's still relatively a young guy and has so much talent, so he can be effective. Bernie comes in, going to be in the middle on the defensive line, and he's one of those guys that has pretty good speed for a guy his size, and he's not afraid to tell you about it. He enjoys that, but he will mix things up in the middle as well. Noah Freet's another guy who we think will see some playing time. Tronzo, a redshirt freshman, likely to get in there, but that's when you talk about having 7, 8, 9 guys, because those first 2 games, I mean, as we know today, it's already 82 degrees and it's 8:30 in the morning when we're doing this. It's not going to be any better on those evenings when the heat of the day just culminates. So it's going to take a bunch of guys together to piece that defensive line together, and then that dreaded injury is going to pop up. It's football. It's going to happen.
You look towards the safeties room. It was a position that we previewed at the start. Tons of opportunity there. Jagger Williams has inserted himself very well. He's a guy who's played in the Big Sky Conference. He's gone up against some of the best teams in the league. C.J. Parson is another name that's been around the program. And, of course, Vinny Pierre, another guy who's really been developed through special teams. Can you touch up on Coach Poor, how when you see guys through the years in your program where they've had so many special teams reps, they develop those into a spot on defense and now end up being a leader? That's really what's been a core of this program for a long time, is that player development piece.
Yeah, and a lot of that alludes back to the more reps you get at it, the more experience you get, the more confidence you get, and you trust what you're doing. And then, like you said, you can play free. And I think that's the other aspect of that, is what that scheme actually is. Is it a complex scheme, or is it a scheme that you can execute? And that's a tough position, because much like the tight ends and H-backs, you're connected to the front and the back, the run and the pass, and there's a lot of assignments there, and you got to be a heady guy that can't be out there thinking about what you're doing. And that's where that development, sometimes it takes some time with those safeties, and they face some adversity because, they're going to make some mistakes.
Again, it's been an outstanding fall camp, and we've had a lot of help with our coverage. I know us three get a lot of attention during camp, but really want to make sure we spotlight Dom Hosher, who's done an outstanding job with the daily social media for Saluki football, Noah Zarn, Cam Curry. There's been a team of also multiple student interns who have helped with the Meet the Team videos, all of that content that's come out. Make sure, Saluki Nation, that you thank those individuals for making our coverage. It is what it is. But for the coach, Pat Poor, for Mike Trude, I am Luke Martin. We say so long from a sweaty Friday here at Saluki Stadium. Until next time, Saluki Nation, go Dogs.